Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna go through my NBA machine learning model predictions again today. Got the predictions for today's games right there. I will go through each individually, go through a recap on the next slide, and I have some NHL and college basketball games on the end of this presentation. So you can skip ahead if you want some NHL or college. If you want the NBA, I will go through it slide by slide and go through each game for you. All right, here's the recap for yesterday. The only spreads we got was Golden State and New Orleans. OKC ended up losing. Had them predicted right at the line for the over and the spread on them. Missed both of those. Detroit easily covered their spread. Sacramento sat most of their starters for like a quarter and a half at the end of that game. Got the over there. Got both on that New Orleans San Antonio game. Got the under on the Phoenix Miami game, but missed the spread. Phoenix just could not hit any threes. And then that last game, the over under depends when you got it. If you waited till the end, it was half a point over. If you got it early, then it was under. And then it missed on the Brooklyn side. Brooklyn got whooped. So that's how we did yesterday. We'll go ahead and get into the games for today. First game is going to be Philly and Charlotte. Model like Charlotte 116 to 108 on the final day. It's been growing steadily. It was about 4.5 for the first 3 days, went up to 6.5, then up to 8. So the model's feeling pretty confident on the Charlotte side. Embiid and George both are sitting, I believe. From last I saw, they were out. So that's definitely going to help Charlotte on the spread. I'm not sure if it's gone up anymore. Last I saw, it was still sitting at that 4.5 points for the spread. So still on the Charlotte spread side, and it was on the underside slightly. So the totals also stayed pretty steady. 226 down to 224 is about the fluctuation. So again, model's been pretty confident on Charlotte, been pretty confident on the total. And from the injuries that I saw, that only benefits Charlotte. So I would definitely go with them on this game. All right, next game we got is going to be Cleveland and Orlando. Games in Cleveland today. They just played in Orlando. The last game that they played, and Cleveland won 119 to 105. It looks like Orlando's going to be without Franz again. Cleveland's without Garland, and they have Hunter and Merrill as questionable. So not sure if those guys will play or not. Model's been really steady on this one too, especially on that Orlando line. It has had them right at 111 points all week long. So pretty crazy to see that much consistency. I know they haven't played a lot just because they went overseas and played, but Cleveland has jumped a little bit, mostly going up. The total has been pretty consistent, 227 up to 230. So market is at Cleveland. I want to say 5.5 was what it was last. It was going more towards them. And then the total was around 227. So the model likes Cleveland to win by 7, and it likes 229 as the total. So not far off on the total and on the overside or on the Cleveland side of the spread. So again, pretty consistent. So the model seems pretty confident in this game. I think I would probably wait until you find out if Hunter or Merrill will play. That should be pretty big on Cleveland, especially with Garland already out. But if they both play, I think the model's got it right here. I think that Cleveland will cover, and I could see it going over. The risk here is definitely going to be Orlando scoring. If they don't score much and Cleveland can just sit on a lead, that might put a risk on the total. So I would feel more confident in Cleveland covering the spread just based on their recent play. They have won 4 of their last 5, 7 of their last 10, and they're 15 and 11 at home. Orlando is 9 and 11 on the road. They're 2 and 3 in their last 5 and 4 and 6 in their last 10. Like I said, last game they just lost by 14, and it looks like it's pretty much the same lineups. Um, if Hunter plays, he played in that last game. All right, next game is going to be Indiana and Atlanta. The model likes Atlanta to win by 2. Vegas has it a couple more. They have Atlanta favored by about 5. And then the total was around 232, 233. And model has it slightly under at 228. So this isn't a game that I'm a big fan of. I feel like neither team has been very consistent. Indiana obviously has had a lot of injuries. Um, Atlanta shows up some games and plays really well, and then other games they just don't seem like they can get it rolling, or they're pretty streaky on the offensive side, which is part of it. If you look at the graph, the model's not too sure. It likes a close game. It's been on Atlanta the entire week, but some of those have been barely on Atlanta. Point two there on day 5. It has gotten up to almost 3 points. It's sitting at about two right now, like I said. Indiana might get Matherin back today. So if they can get him back, that's a big boost for their offense, especially if he can play some minutes and if he can hit some threes. He's a good player. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I would take this game. Not a big fan of the over under or of the spread. If I had to pick anything on this game, um, yeah, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what I would pick. I was gonna say I would probably take the under, but with these teams, if they get hot from behind the arc, then they can put up points. And yeah, I'm not confident in either defense, so I would just stay away from this one personally. But that's what the model has for you right there. Okay, next game will be Portland and Boston. Model's been pretty confident, but it has been shrinking for that spread. Started with Boston at 6.5, and it's dipped down to about 3.5. So right now, the Vegas line is around 9. Um, I think the biggest information here is just that Abdia is questionable again. Portland's been rolling pretty well. They're 4-1 in their last 5, but Abdia didn't play in their last game, and it definitely showed. Toronto beat them pretty easily. Um, Boston is 13-7 at home. They're 5-5 in their last 10, 3-2 in their last 5. They have Keta and Garza both questionable. Portland's 10-11 on the road, 7-3 in their last 10, 4-1 in their last 5. Like I said, Avdia and Williams are both questionable. Henderson's still out. So if they all sit, then they're going to be leaning pretty heavy on Kamara, Sharp. So I would definitely take Boston. If they don't play, if Avdia plays, Portland might cover that spread. He adds a big boost to that offense, and he can play everything. So they've been sticking around. They've been winning a lot of games. So they did win the first game too, back at the end of December, 114-108 at home. Now they're in Boston. So like I said, injuries, final injury report I think is very important in this one. If Abdi is going to play or not, I think that's the biggest key. Um, but yeah, the model likes Portland to cover the spread, and it does like the over. The market is sitting at 9 points for the spread and about 225 on the total. The model has 228 for the total. So that's what it likes. Like I said, if Avdia plays, I would be more hesitant on Boston. That's a pretty big spread. But if he doesn't play, I think Boston should cover that. Right now we got LA Lakers going to Chicago. Playing the Bulls tonight. Both teams are 15-9 at the location. LA on the road, Chicago at home. Lakers are 4-6 in their last 10, 3-2 in their last 5. They have Jake LaRavia questionable, and Chicago Bulls are 6-4 in their last 10. They are 4-1 in their last 5. They have not played yet this season. Giddy just came back for Chicago. I don't see him on the injury report at all today. Like I said, LaRavia for the Lakers, and nobody else. So model has been more confident on LA. Their line is much more consistent across the week, sitting at about 105-107. And then Chicago's bounced up and down a little bit, not too much more, still about 111-114. The total has shifted a little bit. 219 went down to 216, now back up to 220. Uh, Vegas has the line. It had shifted from LA being a favorite. Last I looked, it now had Chicago as a 1.5 favorite. And the total was going up from 234 to 237. The model likes the under and likes the under quite a bit, but Giddy coming back, like I've said before, if you haven't watched, the injuries are not factored in as an actual feature. There's multiple 3-game, 7-game, 10-game type rolling average things that will factor in the different parts where they could affect the game, but it's not an instant type flip. I don't just type their name in and say that they're gone and then run the model, because I run this all week and I want the consistency from day 1 to day 7. as the team does. So, um, so yeah, it's pretty consistent on the under, but I would think with Giddy back that the Bulls offense, they've already been playing better, so I would think that they'll keep it rolling. LA's not a huge defense team, so this one could get in a shootout. Um, if LA shots aren't falling, then obviously it could stay a little bit lower, but the shots are falling on both sides of this game, I would expect a higher total. I do like the Chicago side though. Chicago's been playing pretty well. They're a good team. LA is just not what everybody wants them to be, at least all the Lakers fans. They are, like I said, they have won 3 of their last 2 or last 5 since they've been getting healthier, but I just like the Chicago side. I think Chicago is just a really well-rounded team. All right, now we'll get into Memphis and Houston. Um, the model likes Houston to win 114, 112, so 226 total. Vegas has Houston as a 10.5 point spread and a 222 total. So it likes the Memphis spread side. It likes the over. Um, the model really shrunk back when Ja came back for a couple games, played pretty well, but he is out again from what I saw. Aldama is questionable again. If he doesn't play, that's another big hit to Memphis. Houston being back at home, they play much better home. 15-3 there, 5-5 in their last 10, 4-1 in their last 5. Memphis is 8-11 in their last, or on the road. They're 3-10, 3-7 in their last 10, and 2-3 in their last 5. So Houston did win the first matchup by 15. That was back at the beginning of November, and that was in Memphis. Houston plays way better at home. They won by 15 on the road. Not saying they're going to win by 15 again, but I think that a double-digit spread is definitely coverable, especially with the injuries that they have. So I would be on the Houston side. I might try to take it down to like 8 or 9 points, try to save myself a little stress, but I do like that. The over/under, I think that would probably, man, I don't know. They have a very low line. That's the struggle for me. Uh, Obviously, Memphis can put up a lot of points. Houston can play pretty good defense, especially at home. And then they can put up points too. I think I would lean on the overside of this one just because the line is so low. But I wouldn't be too confident on that. I think Memphis's offense is going to have to be clicking for that to actually go over. And last game is going to be Golden State, Minnesota. They played yesterday, and Golden State won pretty easily, 111 to 85. Minnesota won the first game in Golden State, 127 to 120. That was back in mid-December. Minnesota has lost 6 of their last 8, though. One of the 2 wins was only 1 point, and 5 of the 6 losses were by 5 or more points. So they've been struggling a lot recently. They've played some decent teams, but not teams that they can't beat and at least keep it close with. So Dante was hitting threes last night. Ant had a decent game, but Golden State pulled away from that pretty early, and it just they'd never caught up at all. So the model, as you can see, it started on Minnesota. It flipped to Golden State real quick before that injury for Butler, and then it flipped right back to Minnesota, but never with a lot of confidence. It sat right at 1.5 to 1 point. The over/under, it was 237 to start the week. Day 3, it dropped to 233, and it's been back up to about 240. Over/under on the market is sitting at about 233, and they have Minnesota favored by 6 to 7 right now, even though they lost by almost 30 points last night. So the model likes Golden State to cover the spread again, and it does like the over. Sitting at 239 is what the model likes for that. So not huge confidence. You might take Golden State with some points. They do have Horford and Kuminga out, um, but that's all I see that hasn't been out for them. So I don't know how I would feel on this. I do feel like, especially given the Butler injury, that Minnesota's the better team and they should be able to win. They should be able to cover that spread. But given last night, there's definitely a lot of question marks around that. All right, now we got the NHL predictions here. Anaheim is the only team that played yesterday. They're on the second day of a back-to-back. They went to overtime last night, played and won in Calgary. So they may have a little bit of tired legs going up against the Edmonton team that can push the pace with McDavid. So on day one, it did start at Anaheim, 0.4 goal favorite, and it flipped really quick to Edmonton and has been steadily increasing towards Edmonton all week long. It's actually got them just over a goal favorite. So Anaheim is 13-13-2 on the road. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they are 5-0 in their last 5. They've won 7 straight games. And Edmonton is 13-8-4 at home, 5-3-2 in their last 10, and 3-2 in their last 5. And they've given up 5 and 6 goals in their last game, but they've been scoring more. So one of those games they gave up 5 goals and they won 6-5 in overtime. So the issue here is who can actually play defense. Both teams can score. There's no doubt about that. But some of these games that they play just get a little out of hand. Anaheim has gotten much better recently. Some of their games have been going into extra time, but they haven't. They've been winning them. Like I said, 7 straight. So they are on the road again, and they're going up against a team that can score. So if they end up having tired legs and just not being able to get any after playing last night, Edmonton might win this. I don't think I would be as confident as the model. Definitely wouldn't be my highest confidence of this night, just because of how well Anaheim's been playing recently. But the next one is Philly and the Islanders, and it actually has Philly to win. Philly has points in their last 3. They've won 2 and they lost 1 in overtime. They're 12-8-5 at home, 3-5-2 in their last 10, 2-2-1 in their last 5, and the Islanders are 13-10-3 on the road, 5-4-1 in their last 10, and 2-3 in their last 5. So both teams have only won 2 out of their last 5. The Islanders have been a little better in the last 10, but Philly does play better at home. So started as a push for the first couple days, and it flipped to Philly. It's up to a half a goal for Philly on the favorite. So their goaltending has been much better in the last few games. Before that, they were pretty terrible. They gave up 3 goals and 3 shots a week or 2 ago. So I wouldn't necessarily trust Philly a lot, but that's where the model likes it right now. Next game is Columbus and the Kings. The Kings are 13-6-6 on the road. They're 4-2-4 in their last 10 and 2-0-3 in their last 5. So they haven't lost in regular time in their last 5. They've at least gotten points. 3 of those games did go to either overtime or shootout. Columbus has the one head-to-head win. They won 3-1 back in December in LA. Now they're at home where they're 13-8-4. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they are 4-1 in their last 5. So Columbus has been playing a lot better. The day one started on Columbus. It went to a push real quick, and it has slowly gone back to Columbus. It's sitting at a 0.2 favorite right now, so not a huge favorite, but in hockey it never gets too big on this model. And then the next game is going to be Boston and New York. Boston is favored on the road here by the model. It flipped to New York for a little while and went back to Boston. Has steadily grown to 0.5. I would think Boston would win. New York is a terrible home team. They are 5-13-4 at home, so they've won 5 out of 7 or 5 out of 22 games at home. In contrast, they're 16-12-2 on the road. Very backwards. Not many teams are that much better on the road than at home, but they are 2-7-1 in their last 10, and they're only 1-4 in their last 5. Boston is 11-12-1 on the road, 8-2 in their last 10, and they are 4-1 in their last 5. So Boston's playing pretty well right now. The Rangers are one of the worst teams in the league, and they're playing at home, where for some reason they're even worse. So I would definitely go on the Boston side here. Last game is Utah and Tampa. Both teams are super hot right now. They're both 8-1-1 in their last 10. Utah is 5-0 in their last 5, and 3 of those games they've won by multiple goals. Tampa, they're 3-1-1 in their last 5. but they won, I think it was 11 straight before they had lost a few games ago. So they're 13-9 at home. They haven't lost at home since December 18th. 5-0 in that span at home. So again, two very hot teams. I think I would trust the Tampa goalie more on this, but Utah's been playing really well. So this is a game. Uh, I I would expect it to stay pretty close, just the way they've both been playing. The model never went more than what, point 0.3 on either side. I guess day two was 0.5. But yeah, it's been keeping it really close, point 0.1, point 0.2, point 0.3 all week. So two really good teams. Tampa's going to have the home advantage, but Utah's been playing better in the most recent games. So we'll get into the college games. There's not too many of those today either. Here's the college games. Got the highest confidence down to the lowest confidence. The confidence is for money lines. It is not for covering the spread. It's just if the model thinks it's more likely than the other teams to just win the game, it ranks it at a higher confidence. There's only 4 days here. A couple of days this week, I had my computer shut down overnight when it was supposed to be running the model, so I didn't get those. I didn't bother running them. It doesn't change that much. So I do have the day 3, day 4 will be yesterday and today. Those are the most recent days. Day 1, day 2 will be skip 2 days and go to there. So that's why there might be a bigger gap between day 2 and day 3 than some of the others. The 3 games that only have predictions for today, I'm not sure if those are rescheduled from the storm, and perhaps it didn't connect because the date was different. Sometimes, for some reason, it only gives 1 day for some of these games in conferences that are a little smaller. I'm not entirely sure what the issue is, but I get most of them, so haven't dug in too deep. Anyway, it likes Lamar, it likes Duke, it likes Ohio State as the top 3. It's had Lamar at a 12 to 11, and now day 4 is at a 15-point favorite. Day 4, it will factor in this. Well, sometimes day 3, but day 4 for sure. If it has the line, it will try to factor that in, and you may see a little bit more of a boost. If you do, that probably means the line is a little farther than what the model was thinking. But it's just added in as another feature, so it doesn't normally change it too much, especially this late in the season when there's been plenty of games played. The Duke game, it's like them at 11 points for most of the week, 10 points back to 11. Ohio State right around that 10 to 11, up to a 15, and then back to a 12 point. So I'm not entirely sure what the spreads are on those games, but the model is pretty confident in those. If you go down to the 50s confidence, they really are less confident. The number of games will also impact the confidence tier. So the model could be, I would look at the spread and the confidence. If there's a pretty large spread and a low confidence, the model's still more confident. It just is confident on all of the games that day. And then if the spreads are pretty small on a higher confidence, I would probably do a little more research. It's just the confidence, like I said, it breaks it down by the games that are being played that day. It's not like I'm super confident in this game. This is my most confident pick from today's slate. So those are the games today. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. Think about maybe doing a props video later for NBA. If you make it this far and you would like that, let me know. Maybe I'll go live or something at one of these points. I have a lot of models that and just Python scripts that I use for analysis that it would take too much to make videos for all of them, but I do want to get this information out there. So if you can let me know what would most benefit you for what you're looking at, that would help me get information out for you guys. So if you're betting, good luck. Don't take any of these just on the model itself. Make sure you're doing your own research.